Alright guys, we're going to work on lesson 79 today. This lesson's all about symmetry. Before you start this video, you need to make sure that you've read page 501 through 504. We're going to start with letter A, which is on page 505. And the directions say copy each figure and draw the lines of symmetry, if any. We're going to start with A. And when we're talking about symmetry, it means that when we cut the piece of or the shape into halves, both of the halves would look the same, or they'd be like a reflection. So if I put like a mirror down the middle of the picture, both sides would look the same. So on this one here, we can see that if we put a line down the middle here, that this side and this side would be the same. They'd look exactly the same. So that is the reflective symmetry for, the reflective symmetry. The reflective symmetry for A. All right, let's go ahead and go to B. It says copy each figure and draw the lines of symmetry, if any. It's the same as the last one. There's not really a way that I could cut this one. Let's use a different color. If I cut it in half here, the sides wouldn't flip. Like if I flipped this side, it would end up here, and if I flipped this side, it'd end up over here. And if I did the same thing here, it wouldn't look right either. So they're not reflective. They're not a symmetry. It's not true symmetry. So this one here has no lines of symmetry. If I cut it in half, it would not be the same. All right, on each side. Here we've got a triangle. This one here has a few lines of symmetry. If I cut it in half like that, both sides are the same. If I cut it in half like this, both sides would be the same. So let's see. I'm going to go back a little bit. We use a different color. Let's use orange. So if I cut this one in half here, this side and this side would be the same. If you guys can see that. Those two sides are the same. If I use a mirror right down where that line is at, both of those sides would be the same. And let's do purple for the last one. And this one here is also a line of symmetry. If I put a mirror where that line is at, both sides would look the same. So this one here has 3 lines of symmetry. Wow. Symmetry is kind of fun. All right, let's go ahead and go to D. All right, this one here, if I put a mirror anywhere, there would only be one spot that would be the same. If I put the mirror in the middle of this one, that's the only place I could put a mirror and make both sides the same. If I did it sideways, the tops would have openings, like 2 openings, and the bottom would just have 1. It wouldn't right. We have points down here, so there's only one line of symmetry on D. Okay, let's go ahead and go look at E. It says copy each, same thing. So this one here is kind of fun. It's got 2 lines of symmetry. So let's go back to our pink here. We're going to go ahead. If I put a mirror down the middle, both sides would look the same. And if I put a mirror down this middle, both the top and the bottom would look the same. So this one's got 2. All right, and let's go to F. I don't think we can make this one cut in half anyway. I mean, it just wouldn't look right. There's no way I can cut this in half and have a mirror show both sides being the same. So to review, this one here has 1 line of symmetry. A. B has none. C has 3. D has 1. And E has 2. And F has none. Okay, G says which figures in A through F do not have rotational symmetry. that means when I rotate it, it would be the same. So there's only two that don't have rotational symmetry, and those are going to be A. Oops, got a cord in my way. 1 second. All right, let's go back. So we've got A doesn't. No. If I rotate that, it doesn't matter. It would not work. So I'll show you. Oops. Put that circle back. All right, so we know that this one has this line of symmetry, but if I turned it on its side, I would have a that wouldn't work. So this one does not have a rotational symmetry. So this is that one. All right, if I turned this one here, doesn't have symmetry anyway, so it's just kind of ignored. We're not going to worry about that one. And C does. D doesn't. So if I turned this one on its side, it would look kind of like a 3. It's got this line here, but if I turned it on its side, it would be something like that, and that's not symmetrical. So this one does not have rotational symmetry. X does. We showed that when we were looking at it before. It's got this thing. If I turned it on its side, it would be there. It would still be symmetrical. And this one doesn't have symmetry at all, so don't worry about that. So A and D, of the ones that have any symmetry, A and D don't have rotational. No rotational symmetry. We didn't address B and F because they don't have symmetry at all. So A and D are our answers. 79 says, which figures in A through F have reflective symmetry? That means that it would be the same if I flipped it around. It would still have symmetry. And when we looked at our book, let's see what it says in here. Reflective symmetry. In nature, we often find balance in the appearance and structure of objects and living things. For example, we see a balance in the wing patterns of moths and butterflies. We call this kind of balance reflective symmetry, or just symmetry. So basically, if it has symmetry, it's got reflective symmetry. So this one here we said had symmetry in the beginning. This one here had no symmetry. This one here had symmetry. This one here had symmetry. This one here, E, had symmetry, and Z did not. So if it's got symmetry, it's got reflective symmetry. So it's just a fancy way of saying symmetry. Because we have things like this one that says rotational symmetry when you turn it. So when we're saying reflective symmetry, we're kind of talking about just the regular kind of symmetry. Finally, I says, which of these polygons have reflective symmetry? So it has reflective symmetry if it's got any lines of symmetry. So does A have a line of symmetry? Well, it certainly does. If I cut it down the middle, it's got symmetry. Try to make my lines a little bit more straight. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. Okay. This one here also can be symmetrical this way. And it can be symmetrical this way. And it can be symmetrical this way. All right, so we've got several lines of symmetry on that one. So A has reflective symmetry. B, well, if I cut it in half this way, it's symmetrical. If I cut it in half this way, it's symmetrical. So we're going to write A and B. This shape, C, has no symmetry. There's nothing there, so we're not going to use that one. And D, again, has no symmetry. So that one's not symmetrical. So we're going to write A and B have reflective symmetry. All right. Well, that is the quick lesson for symmetry. I hope you learned something. You can use this in art too. All right. Have a good day.